On a quiet Saturday night in Cape Town's Philippi East, a celebration turned into chaos. What should have been laughter, music, and community ended in gunfire and grief. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into a story that has left a community shaken to its core, a night of violence that turned a place of celebration into a scene of horror. Philippi East is a community on the Cape Flats of Cape Town, South Africa. It's a place full of spirit and resilience, but also a community where crime and violence have risen sharply in recent years. In the early hours of Saturday, 17 January 2026, just after midnight, a group of locals gathered at a tavern located inside the Marikana informal settlement. These taverns, often called shebeens, are informal bars where people meet after dark to relax, socialize, and unwind. On this night, the shebeen was full, music played, people laughed, some poured another drink. No one knew this would be the last night for 8 people. According to police reports, more than 3 gunmen suddenly burst into the shebeen. They were armed and dangerous. Without warning, they opened fire. Witnesses say it happened fast, so fast that some people didn't even stand up before the bullets hit. Gunshots exploded inside the shebeen. Panic followed instantly. People ran, some fell, some never stood up again. When it was over, the floor was soaked in blood. Among those killed was a 43-year-old woman who owned the tavern, a presence in the community, someone people knew, someone who worked hard to make a living. A few were wounded but survived. It was chaos. Screams echoed down the dusty street. Gun smoke filled the air. One witness later told reporters they heard shouts, panic, and then sudden silence. A silence no one expected. Over and over again, officers found bodies lying where they had been sitting, drinks still on tables, music still playing, a scene frozen in time. Residents stood behind police tape, watching silently. Some cried, some prayed, some just stayed, trying to understand how this could happen outside their homes. By morning, Philippi East was no longer the same. Parents kept their children indoors. People whispered instead of speaking loudly. Every loud sound felt like another gunshot. Residents told reporters they were afraid to sleep, afraid to walk at night, afraid that the killers were still nearby. One resident said it can happen to anyone anytime, and that fear spread from house to house and street to street. Authorities believe the attack was linked to extortion. Criminals forcing tavern owners and small business owners to pay protection money. When payments aren't made, violence often follows. Police identified suspects and launched a manhunt. 2 people were arrested and they were set to appear in court. But detectives said more suspects were still at large. Officials urged the public to come forward with information, promising anonymous tips so residents could step forward without fear of retaliation.
We have managed to arrest 2 people with regard to 8 murders of Philippi East, early hours of this morning, through intelligence-driven operations. I must say, we want to appeal to the community to say they should not be cooperative with these extortionists, because what we are finding, especially in the areas like Philippi, Nyanga, a lot of them are cooperating with these extortionists. They kind of make arrangements who's going to collect money for extortionists so that we don't catch them when they collect themselves.
The suspects arrested in connection with the mass shooting are expected to appear in court later this week.
Let's pause and think about who these victims were. They weren't criminals. They weren't gang bosses or villains. They were ordinary people in their late 20s, 30s, and 40s. People with families, hopes, and futures. One of them was the tavern owner, a woman running her own small business. Another was a member of the community, simply enjoying the night. This wasn't justice or revenge. This was brutal violence against people who did nothing to deserve it. Family members have been left with questions. The community has been left with grief. Word spread quickly throughout Philippi East. Street corners were quiet, people whispered. The mood was heavy. Some residents called for greater safety and more police presence. Others argued that closing down Shebeens entirely might help prevent future bloodshed. But many also expressed fear of retaliation, fear of speaking out, fear that justice will never come. Community leaders urged cooperation with police, saying silence only emboldens criminals.
Our appeal is to the community that you should not work with the extortionists or the people that are collecting money. We have a number, a toll-free number in the Western Cape that we encourage people to use, which is, the number is 0800 314444. We have been successful with this number and before, and we have no doubt that even here now, it can be used, we must be used, and then we can get to the bottom of this. We don't want the names of your people, the caller, but just tell us where it happens, who is doing it, and when it is happening. Because our skill is to get to them. We've been successful before, and we are hoping that the community in this area will work with us. We've established that here in Marikana there are some group of extortionists that are collecting money. Please do not work with them. Report that to the police so that we can deal with this matter.
This tragedy did not happen in isolation. South Africa has one of the highest violent crime rates in the world. Gun violence has surged in informal settlements across the country. Mass shootings at taverns are becoming common. People gather to enjoy life, and instead they are caught in a wave of crime that refuses to stop. Today, the families of the 8 victims are left to mourn. A community is left to heal, and the police continue to search for those responsible. In the shadows of the Cape Flats, people ask a haunting question: how many more lives must be lost before change comes? Thank you for watching and stay safe. See you in the next story.